as they say, the truth is hard to swallow. Pakistan is a blot in the world order. We always knew this. We're clear at Republic. Pakistan has admitted it now. The Prime Minister of the terrorist state has admitted how it is, in his words, quote, embarrassing for him. He says, I'm embarrassed. I go around the whole world asking for loans. He says almost that he's fed up being the Prime Minister. He handles a food crisis, a Gilgit-Baltistan crisis. Ladies and gentlemen, when a Prime Minister says he's almost embarrassed about the situation of his country, what needs to be said? What remains to be said? Let's debate.
From protests in Gilgit-Baltistan to riots over wheat flour, Pakistan is going around the globe with a begging bowl.
We would be able to generate close to about $8 billion domestically, but we're looking forward to an amount of equal share of $8 billion internationally.
But now the protests have expanded to regions in Waziristan. Power outages are the new norm. Terrorism is the only sector where the Pakistanis are global leaders.
Before you said you're a diplomat, but several weeks ago you called Pakistan, your neighbor, the epicenter of terrorism.
Well, I did it again today without using the word Pakistan.
Yes, and this doesn't sound very diplomatic, does it?
No, because you are a diplomat doesn't mean you're untruthful. I could use much harsher words than epicenter. So believe me, considering what has been happening to us, I think epicenter is a very diplomatic word.
Now, even the Prime Minister of the terror state has thrown his hands up. Pakistan is a self-admitted disaster. Let's debate.
Gaurav.
Hi.
I think we need to have a hot debate because Faisal's feeling very cold. And I think there may be no heating in Islamabad. Maybe electricity is cut off. Situation so bad there. Can you see how he's there, you know? Delhi is equally cold, but look at you. You look so chilled out. You know, Sushant. Delhi में भी सर्दी है मगर heating चल रही है, सब कुछ ठीक है. Now the question is, Gaurav, ki, what advice do you have?
Arnab, I've just returned from outside, and of course outside in Islamabad it's really cold.
I know. Now the thing is that your Prime Minister has said that it is becoming very embarrassing for him. मतलब कि जो हिंदी में अगर उसका मैं ट्रांसलेट करूँ तो वो कहते हैं हमें शर्म आती है अभी कि मैं हर जगह जाके मैं बहुत शर्म की बात है कि हमें हर जगह जाके भीख मांगनी पड़ती है पैसों के लिए, लोन के लिए. This is a very major statement coming in from Shehbaz Sharif. And I agree with him. It is a matter of shame. है ना, Gaurav? It is a matter of shame, but it is also headline grabbing material because खुद प्रधानमंत्री जाके कह रहे हैं कि शर्मनाक स्थिति आ गई हमारी, है ना? Well, how do you view this? I mean, it's just going from bad to worse. I try to ignore Pakistan. It's impossible to do. What do you think, Gaurav? What should they do, Gaurav? And how significant is this statement?
No, Arnab, this statement has been true 5 years back, 10 years back. So, you see, today Imran Khan is pointing fingers. It is during Imran Khan's 3.5-year rule that he took the maximum number of loans and asked for maximum number of aid. So, this is nothing new. Imran Khan has said that if I go to IMF, I'll commit suicide. When he was in the opposition before 2018, this is what Imran Khan said. He said, I'll commit suicide. I'll end my own life before I take money from others.
Yeah.
And Imran Khan took more money than anybody else. And so, Arnab, this is just more of the same. And he's saying that
but this,
I
on
feel
the economic
situation.
No, but on the economic situation, Sushant, elementary facts out here, Sushant, and you know, their current percentage of debt in GDP is about 80%. 80%. Sometime back it was 60%. That was bad enough. Now it's 80%, Sushant. It's a very critical situation.
Arnab, that's the wrong measure really, because that's a stock. There are countries which even more debt to GDP ratios. Problem in Pakistan's case is they simply do not have the money to service the debt. So bankruptcy is when you can't service the debt, not the quantum of debt. So I think that is a fundamental problem as far as Pakistan is concerned. And why is that the problem? Because if you look at the last 20 odd years, every 5 years, the quantum of debt in Pakistan has doubled. So if it was about 6 trillion rupees at the time of Musharraf's term ended, it was 12 by the time the People's Party came in, left office. It was about 25 when Muslim League Nawaz left. And in the last 4 years, it's crossed about 50 trillion rupees. So that is the galloping rate at which their debt is growing. And their economy is only growing at about 2 or 3% per annum. So clearly, this has become an unviable and an unsustainable state. And it requires very, very deep structural surgery for it to be able to survive.
See, there's no structural surgery possible. I'll tell you, I've discussed these numbers. Right. I've discussed these numbers most clinically with some macroeconomic experts, and their view is, Faisal, that it is unsustainable. And Shehbaz Sharif is right, Raja Faisal and Faisal Rahman. We've got two Faisals. The money cannot be returned, leave alone serviced. Leave alone returned, the money cannot be serviced. The money cannot be serviced because there is no roadmap. If the money has to be serviced, there has to be a right environment, there has to be a right economic situation. And you see what's happening is you're getting lesser and lesser money on tougher and tougher terms.
Yeah, Arnab, if you can allow me...
And one last thing, Faisal, you used to come on my programs and say, China is with us. China hame bacha dega, China hamare saath hai. We told you, listen, money doesn't go that way. You know? Okay, now, yeah. So you understand what the situation is.
Arnab, I think we being the Pakistanis, we are the only ones who can save ourselves. And I would agree with Sushant. He has highlighted a very important point that right now, of course, we are lacking the money. We don't have the money. There are several other reasons I would like to add in whatever Sushant has said. Of course, Pakistan has gone through a worst economic time during COVID, number one. And number two, very recently, we had floods, and of course, 30% of our land is, of course, under the waters. And to me, I think all of these political games which are being played in Pakistan,
I just tell you, viewers, the pictures you're seeing. I won't come on air. Let the pictures play. I just want to explain the pictures while Raja Faisal is speaking. What pictures are playing in the middle of the screen, Raja Faisal? ये बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग तस्वीर है, बहुत वायरल हो चुका है कि यहाँ पे 3 लोग हैं और 10 किलो आटा है ना, और 10 किलो आटे के ऊपर इनकी बिल्कुल मतलब जान को हथेली में डालते हुए ये लड़ रहे हैं जिस तरीके से। गौरव, इस तस्वीर को देखिए। ये जो पाकिस्तान की जो अभी की हालत है, इसको बहुत बेहतरीन तरीके से, सुंदर तरीके से इसको रिफ्लेक्ट करती है। और राजा फैसल, आपके लैंग्वेज में भी देखिए, आपने क्या कहा हमेशा, यू ऑलवेज सेड कि आप यू आर एंटी पाकिस्तान. आई एम एंटी पाकिस्तान. You said that you are looking at it from an Indian perspective. I am. But at the same time, I told you that you do not have a future. You see, you must understand, you do not have a future. Your people do not have a future. You do not have any.
Well, if Pakistan hasn't got a future, then nobody has the future.
Oh my God. I'll let Gaurav respond to that emotional rubbish.
Yes, Gaurav. Arnab, Arnab, like Sushant very rightly said, Sushant said that, they have the inability to service that loan or service that debt. It's not just about inability to do it. They don't have the intention of doing it also. Very recently, a group of Pakistani businessmen approached Shehbaz Sharif and said that ask for debt forgiveness. दुनिया से कहिए कि हमारा कोई इंटेंशन नहीं है देने का, हम दे ही नहीं सकते, आप माफ कर दो ये सब. तो पाकिस्तान has never repaid its debt ever. हाँ, अपना ब्याज देते रहते हैं ये लोग, सूद देते रहते हैं.
But they have a feeling.
That they manage.
But they have a feeling, Gaurav. You see, the Pakistanis, because since Zia-ul-Haq's time and all, when they started selling their country Faisal, there was this feeling that there'll always be a buyer. I'll tell you the way. पाकिस्तानी सोचते हम बेचते रहेंगे, कोई ना कोई तो हमें खरीद लेगा. अब खरीदने वाले बाकी नहीं है. You see, you have lost your strategic importance. You've lost, with that, you have lost your any form of significance. And the few people who were giving you money now realize that it's a black hole. Jisko scientific terminology is a black hole. And what will happen now, Faisal Rahman, is that there is a lot of crisis all over the country. You know, Punjab, Sindh, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Balochistan. You know, in fact, people died in stampedes. People are running over each other over trying to get one sack of wheat. So there is a social crisis also. So Faisal, it's a what you call, जो colloquialism में कहते हैं ना, gone case situation है पाकिस्तान में.
नहीं, gone case situation तो नहीं है. मैं आपको बताऊं, one of the videos which I was just watching in your program, that isn't happening, to be very honest, in these cities or anywhere else. Yes, there are 3-4 major reasons. Ukraine crisis. Obviously, we all know that Ukraine and Russia, they produce about 30% of the grains. So that is one reason. Primarily, the floods in Pakistan that ruined our agriculture is the second reason. We could not even harvest for the second season. Number 3, again, is about the political and economic policies regarding the food and agriculture. They were miserable. You know, I would agree with you for the first time, Arnab, on couple of statements that you made. Yes, our Prime Minister is feeling embarrassed. The government, which was toppled off about a few months ago, of Imran Khan, we were actually having a growth rate of 5.6%. Now the situation is really bad. I'll add on further that Suzuki Motor has stopped, Toyota has stopped functioning, Millet Tractors has stopped functioning. I'm talking about the large-scale manufacturing, just because we could not import the raw materials. We do not have the money. When it comes to exports, obviously you will need imports to enhance your exports. That is going haywire. When you talk about the remittances, they have also decreased because the people living abroad, they do not have much trust in the current government. When it comes to a couple of other questions that you have made, yes, as far as debt servicing is concerned, that is a major problem.
But how will you, what is your way out? I know the problem, Faisal. Faisal, see, yes. I'll tell you one thing. And I have been saying this for the longest time. That stop, look inside. जिसको हम हिंदी में कहते हैं, गौरव, सुशांत, हम कहते हैं आत्म मंथन कीजिए. आप गहराई में अपने बारे में सोचिए कि आपकी ये हालत क्यों हो गई है ना? क्योंकि आप लोग पिछले 20-30 सालों से, एक तो आपका ये कश्मीर ऑब्सेशन है, भाई यू कांट अफोर्ड टू ईट, यू कांट अफोर्ड अनियंस, you can't afford medicines. And I'm not saying this to insult you. I'm not saying this. I am actually saying you don't have medical equipment, you don't have food items. You know, you can say that because of Ukraine, the cost of wheat has gone up. Ukraine is a wheat supplier. It's not true. Ukraine is not the world's largest chicken supplier. In Quetta, chicken is costing 700 rupees a kilo. Khane ko kuch nahi hai. You need to understand. And also another thing, would you deny, Faisal, that for privileged circles in Islamabad, they have no idea what the situation is outside Islamabad? Would you deny that? How long will a small part of Islamabad and Karachi remain an island?
People still think that Islamabad is Pakistan. That is not true. There are areas where the poverty is really high. To be very honest, there is a problem of clean drinking water even.
I know that. So I said, no, but
because there is no political commitment, the priorities are not set right. So people are more involved.
I want to explain this.
That is another problem.
I want to explain this.
Long-term objectives are missing.
Faisal,
goals aren't there.
Faisal, listen. Look upon this, okay? Maybe you're not looking at how serious the situation is. Onion prices. Your onion prices average in cities and towns, wherever, what about 30-40 rupees about a year back in Pakistan per kilo. Today you go out and onion prices are 250 rupees. Which means your onion prices have gone up. No, it is not. This is not an inflation situation. This is it's a crisis. This is not inflation, sir. When prices go up by 550%, you've got to think.
No, things are not bad the way you're portraying, because I live in Pakistan, and obviously when I go out and see what's happening, I mean, stores are still full, people are buying.
sure.
Yes, for a certain low middle class or a lower class, there is a lot of problem.
This is the problem.
Money
Lower middle
isn't
class, lower
any
class,
value as
acha
such,
bhai,
because
this is the
whatever
problem.
products we used to get for, let's suppose, 100 rupees,
Arnab,
they have tripled
Sushant.
as far as the prices are concerned. And I agree. Yes.
Sushant, you look into the future.
Arnab,
Sushant.
you know, in the erstwhile Soviet Union, there was never any shortage for the people who were well connected. Or you know, the people who were the party people. There was never any shortage. So if Faisal out here is now saying that it's all okay, and it's only, you know, this hoi polloi, this lower class kind of people who are suffering. Otherwise, it's all okay. Yeah, that's right. But that's what was also the case when the French Revolution took place. But look, let me tell you a couple of. I think, you know, Faisal, when he talks about 5% growth rate, it was all on borrowed funds. It wasn't going to last. The moment the time came to pay off those funds, the payment time came, the economy tanked. Because the economy, the moment it grows by more than 3%, it has a balance of payments crisis on its hand, right? Because it's all imported growth and it's all borrowed growth. So it cannot survive. Bottom line is, structurally, the economy is so broke that until it is completely dismantled and rebuilt from zero, it cannot survive. The state is no longer viable. Even if they get an IMF program, it is not going to be viable. There have been countries in the past which have got an IMF program and have still defaulted. Pakistani state and the way Pakistan is structured has to contract. It has to contract very severely for it to be able to become sustainable. Otherwise, it is not a viable entity anymore.
It's not a viable state.
Let me give you another example. Let me tell you. Let me just clarify the one thing.
Raja.
You know, they keep falling on excuses of the floods. Yes, the floods came, they affected large portions of the thing. The wheat shortage is not because of the floods. Because the floods did not affect bulk of the territory where wheat is grown. They could have managed even without that. It is other problems which are causing that particular shortage, right?
Yeah,
the growth rate hasn't fallen because of the wheat.
Yeah. We could not import from Ukraine. Normally, we used to import, as Faisal Bhai has just mentioned earlier. I think you are giving us points.
Yeah, don't
today,
blame your problems on other countries. Your problems are very indigenous to you. You can keep blaming the rest of the world that the Americans were in Afghanistan, so you had a problem. Somebody else went to Mars, so you had a problem.
Sushant, talking about economy, I think we need to learn a lot from India. We know that in early 90s, of course, similar kind of problems were being faced
Again, Raja
India,
Faisal, again you mistake it. Again you make odious comparisons.
Please.
Again, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you, Arnab, just give me half a minute.
One point.
This is a common myth in Pakistan that India in 1991 and Pakistan in 2023. Just let me give you an example.
Sushant,
yes, India was bankrupt
your
in
economy
in 1991.
In early 90s.
Yeah, just सुन लो ना यार, सुन लेना, अकल दे रहा हूँ तो सुन लेना, मेरी बात सुन ले. India in 1991 was almost in a similar situation. But what happened was that because we were broke, we went to the IMF, we did all the necessary reforms at that point of time. The Pakistanis have gone 22 times to the IMF. Not once, not twice, not 10 times.
And now
not
the
20
restructuring
times,
is not possible.
Times. Every time they go to the IMF, they take the first couple of $1 billion and then they blow it up because then the economy has, managed to come back on the rails. So they blow it up. And every crisis is worse than the previous one. So they have now reached that tipping point where they have to go over.
Yeah, okay.
So now, don't compare yourself with India. That what happened in 91 is not what is happening to you.
Arnab,
yeah,
I have a point here,
with
Arnab.
that, and I personally believe that for a country to go towards IMF, it's not a bad choice always.
Okay, now it's not, I'll tell you one thing. I'll tell you one thing. I'd say one thing to you. I will give you an example. I'll give you an example. I will give you an example. 1 minute. There is something, Raja.
Now is the time that Pakistan needs to have a consensus, an economic consensus. And politics should stay away from the economy sector so that Pakistan can progress.
Listen to me. And please understand, I think beyond your, whatever you need to listen when you're speaking, and there is, do you find a hatred or animosity coming in? We are genuinely concerned. And when Sushant is saying, and when Gaurav is saying, it's no longer a rhetorical thing of Pakistan being a failed state. You need to understand any state that is completely unable to build any basis of an economic viability will not survive politically or socially. It is a fact. There is not one example in the world. What I am trying to only assess, Mr. Baloch, and I'd like to bring you in, you're a leader of the PPP, is that you need to understand you cannot afford things anymore. You're in such a bad situation, and the dollar is about 240 Pakistani rupees. Inflation of onion is 550%. The price of chicken in Quetta is 670 to 700 rupees a kilo. Yeah, it's crazy. And the Prime Minister said, I'm getting embarrassed. The debt ratio is 80%. They cannot, and he's saying that I can't go begging. I can't go begging. So
Arnab,
I don't think Mr. Baloch, you see, I think you cannot afford your defense expenditure. You cannot afford supporting terrorist groups anymore. You should feed your people instead of feeding Hafiz Saeed. Do you understand what I'm saying? You stop feeding Hafiz Saeed and you feed your people. Otherwise, your people will rise up against you, and even Hafiz Saeed anyway is going to rise up against you. Yes. Mr. Baloch, you understand?
First of all, Arnab, I don't know what's the obsession with Hafiz Saeed and all that. But when we are talking about economy, let's stick to that.
Obsession? What did you mean
Pakistan
obsession?
Is definitely
Hafiz Saeed is the coward. Hafiz Saeed is the coward who sent people to the city where I'm broadcasting from. You're asking me about obsession.
No. Let me.
You hand him over. We'll teach you what our obsession with him is. You hand him over.
So first of all,
Gaurav will take the next flight and bring him back. Then we'll treat him properly. Okay?
Absolutely.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, go on, Mr. Baloch. Go on, Mr. Baloch.
Yes. So, Arnab, I would like to say that, first of all, Pakistan is facing an economic challenge and we will come out of it. So that's not...
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Can you hear me, Arnab?
Yeah, I can. Go on.
So Pakistan is facing an economic challenge and we will definitely come out of it. But obviously, there is a background to it. We have gone through recent floods, which were severe, and we faced unprecedented floods, which Pakistan, even I don't think so this region ever faced this kind of floods. So after those situations, we have certain serious conditions which we will definitely come out of it.
You are not understanding.
And secondly,
you are not understanding.
We were.
It's got nothing to do with the floods.
Ask the gentleman from the
contributor,
Pakistan People's Party. Arnab, asked the gentleman from the Pakistan People's Party, and that is the nub of the problem. How much tax does his party chairman or co-chairman and that family give? They have a chateau in France. They have villas in Dubai. How much is the tax they pay? How much is the tax that any of the rich people in Pakistan pay? And then the Prime Minister of Pakistan, Shehbaz Sharif, starts complaining that, I cannot impose more burden on the poor people. Please ask him how much burden has he imposed on the rich people of Pakistan first. None of the rich people. Their generals have villas in, their generals have ranches in.
You tell me. आपके टाटा, अंबानी और बिरला कितना टैक्स देते हैं? आप बताएं, जो कि मोदी सरकार चला रहे हैं।
अरे वो जितना टैक्स देते हैं आपके जीडीपी से ज्यादा है। आपके जीडीपी से ज्यादा टैक्स देते हैं। आप क्या बात कर रहे हैं?
If you are more concerned about the taxpayers,
आप क्या बात कर रहे हैं?
आप तो ऐसे कह रहे हो जैसे आपके भारत में दूध और शहद की नहरें बह रही हैं। मुंबई के slums.
You are going around begging the rest of the world to give you money. Why don't you pay your taxes?
Surviving in Mumbai, we all know that. So
well,
I think we all know how you people are also surviving now.
We also know.
We all know. So this is where the problem comes.
So don't lecture us.
You just touch one raw nerve about Bonnie and Clyde of Pakistan. who looted that country,
We are-
and look at
we
the
are-
way
we are
these
a
people
growing
react.
nation.
Sushant,
Now they are talking
Sushant,
about
Sushant.
bona fide businessmen
Sushant,
in India
Sushant, the fact of
who
the matter
create
is,
millions of
if you
jobs.
were to do, if you were to, no, 1 minute, 1 minute. Everybody knows, and can you tell me today, can Raja Faisal tell me that the two richest families in Pakistan, the two richest families in Pakistan are not the Bhuttos and the Sharifs, and their foreign assets and their global lifestyle,
No, and the generals.
Arnab,
and the generals? And do you think at one point of time, there is not going to be, you know, a mass movement here against this?
Arnab, I'm impressed by Sushant's question today, and I think this question needs to be asked by all of the Pakistanis. And obviously, in response, I can understand that People's Party's, you know, one of the leaders, he has highlighted someone from India. But right now, of course, we are talking about economy of Pakistan, and I think it was a relevant question. We must ask all of the
I think there's a difference. I like that tone. Gaurav, you see the change in tone now from a year back?
We must ask all of the powerful people how much tax they are paying, because this is the time to ask them.
Okay. Gaurav, you see the change in tone, 10 seconds. I see a change in tone tonight, and I think that's a step forward.
Arnab, I just want to say one thing. You know, Faisal Rahman made a point that because of the Ukraine-Russia war, there is no wheat. You know, there are more than 600 containers of pulses lying outside Karachi, and Pakistan is not paid. There are hundreds of containers of vegetables.
That's exactly what
they have not paid for them, and they have not come in.
You know, have proper LCs
sir,
and
that is the
everything.
problem.
You're right.
Sir,
That's
that is what I'm saying.
When it comes to economy, these are
Sir,
all about facts and figures.
allow me,
You can't be
Faisal,
hopeful and not hopeful.
allow me to
It's all about statistics, and I agree with you.
Please allow me to complete. Please allow me to complete, Faisal. All I'm saying is that it's not so much a function of the Ukraine-Russia war. It's a function of Pakistan not having money.
Absolutely. We're closing this change of tone tonight. Situation is in Pakistan has not gone from bad to worse. But, you know, the fact of the matter is Pakistan is entirely capable of hitting a new low every time you think they can't go any further. It's a really bad situation there. And I shall see you tomorrow at 9 once again. Viewers, good night and goodbye.